first of all, thank you for coming through.
Yeah, no problem. I'm apologize for like I said, for showing up at this time. But
it's all
appreciate
good.
you for having me here, man.
No, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. It's always good to kick it with you. And we only tend to kick it like in passing.
Yes,
like 2.5 seconds, literally.
right.
You know what I mean? But it's always, your energy is always positive.
Thank you, man.
You know what I mean?
Same.
You are quite evidently active. You got things going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like that's, it's a treat.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
And you're also somebody like I'm curious about people because I'm especially curious about people when their work precedes them. Because like I know what it takes to do work,
but
especially like anything that's self-actuated. That's not like, oh, you just go to a job.
But
if you're somebody who you create the job and you create the whatever the thing, that the way that you utilize your time and your energy. It's like, I want to hear what's in the mind of that guy. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, I appreciate you coming through, man. Truly.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think I heard about you when I think back to like when I first met you. I had heard about you before meeting you. You know what I mean? Just people talking about like, your business. I think it was like maybe like Chike.
Yeah.
Had like mentioned you and like just different folks. But it was evident that you were about your work. You were about your business. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that I'm always fascinated by.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? And it's always rewarding to like sit down and kind of peel back the onion on that. What's going on under the hood there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I like to see like the other stuff that like, we were talking about before, the stuff that you do, like, serving on, boards for arts organizations and like you're really helping steer this thing.
Thanks, man.
You know what I'm saying? In whatever areas you are either excellent at or gifted at, you know what I mean? Like you apply them in appropriate ways.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
For sure. I mean, that's what I see from afar. Like I could be wrong.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So I really like to start the conversation with like you as a little boy. Like how did you, or what are some of the things that you first kind of identified about your individual personality that was like, oh no, that's a me thing. Like that's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, couple things. Early on, I realized that I like being an entrepreneur. So I used to sell T-shirts called Coombs wear and make money off of them. So I used to press them.
Yeah.
Hand press them. I grew up originally from Boston, Massachusetts. So from an early age, I liked entrepreneurship.
Yeah. But
I was talking to my brother, and the reason why I liked entrepreneurship is because I liked autonomy.
Okay.
I still like autonomy. And, growing up, I grew up in a town outside of Boston called Sharon, Massachusetts. Okay. My mom's from Compton, California. My dad's from Brooklyn, and they met in Boston.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So they met in Boston, and my dad worked as an engineer. My mom's a physician. And I remember my dad coming home after being like working really hard and getting laid off from the plant or whatever. The look of defeat on his face.
Yeah.
When you see that as a child, you don't even know how you're internalizing it, but you are. So I said the thing like, I like being an entrepreneur. No, I actually saw him go through that and said, I don't like someone having that level of control or power over my destiny.
Yep.
So I started selling T-shirts, and then, from there, I like entrepreneurship. I like giving back. I like community. It's just stuff that, from what I've seen, my parents and my childhood, that's been imparted to me.
Yeah. It's funny for me. It was somewhat similar, but a different expression. Like my dad was a truck driver. My mom was a bookkeeper, and I knew that my parents were more brilliant than their jobs, and I didn't like this image that I'm seeing of this accepted ceiling. You know what I mean?
That's heavy, yeah.
And then like, and my mom was especially impactful. My mom's example was especially impactful. I'm grateful for it, but it was especially impactful for me because she was like, you know how, it's pretty common folks think, they're the backbone of the company.
Right.
This whole thing will come crashing down if I leave.
Right.
But my mom was really such a backbone for the company that she worked for.
Right.
What I mean? And she was a bookkeeper, but she was more of an accountant than she would ever allow herself to receive credit for.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I didn't like the way that she expressed that she's not an accountant. She's a bookkeeper. And it's like, oh, you're talking about the certification. But I'm watching what you do, and I'm watching what you mean, and I know there isn't an accountant in the company. You know what I mean? So like, I know you're doing the thing,
right.
but you just won't allow that title on yourself because you're not, certified.
Right.
And I was just like, yeah, I don't. That doesn't make me feel comfortable at all. Like that voluntary, like disassociation or disqualification.
Right.
You know what I mean? But yeah, like our entrepreneurship was early in my thought process and like attraction of like, that's how I want to live. Like, I want to do the thing I want to do for one. I just don't want to do the job that's available.
Right.
I want to do what I want to do.
Right.
And I want to do what I want to be great at.
Yeah.
Because like at a certain point, my father could only be so great as a truck driver.
Right.
Like, you like, what are you gonna do?
Right.
You know what I mean? So I want to have my pick of the litter, and then pick something that I could be great at. So that I could continue to be curious. I could continue to advance and improve.
Right.
And be more successful.
Right.
You know what I mean? And make more money from it. Like, I also didn't like this idea of like, no matter what happens over the course of this week or 2 weeks, the check is the check.
Right.
Like, I didn't like that.
Yeah, facts.
And I get it. Like, that's just my, like, other people. I understand how people appreciate the stability of that.
Right.
That just didn't work for me.
Right.
That didn't work for me.
Yeah.
So you said you had a brother. You have any other siblings?
Yeah, I have an older brother and I have a younger sister.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
you have a twin brother. Oh, I've seen your brother. I've seen him around though. You guys look about the same age. He's a little darker than you.
Yeah, he's darker. He's older, but he looks good for his age. And I've always looked like him.
Yeah, right.
Like I've always been this like spitting image of my brother who looked like my older brother, who looked like my dad.
Gotcha.
But I don't look like the next, like, I just look like my next older brother.
Gotcha.
Okay. Yeah, it's weird, but yeah. So like, how does that play in your mind into like being the middle child, second son, but older brother to a sister?
Yeah.
Like, how did that shape your personality and like your how you saw your place in the world and like what you?
Yeah.
Because like there's responsibility on one end. There's also like tutelage, and you get to see somebody's example, and somebody can beat you up, and somebody you can beat up, or whatever. Like however that plays out.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I was more of the peacemaker between the two of them. But I see some of these other people's siblings giving them headaches. I hit the sibling jackpot.
Yeah,
like I literally hit the jackpot. Like,
that's dope.
I have a great relationship with my brother.
Yeah.
My sister's so funny. I have a great relationship with my sister. It doesn't mean that we bicker every now and then, but they're good people.
Yeah,
I literally hit the jackpot with them.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So how did it shape you though?
How did it shape me? It taught me dealing with them to be more diplomatic. So it's like I'm a Libra, we have the scale, it's like I'm not always the person where I say it's my way or the highway. I'm diplomatic in terms of my approach with people. So with dealing with my brother, he's more, he's more type A, like, and my sister, she's type A, and they want left or right.
Yeah.
And I have to be able to maneuver around their.
Yeah. So
it taught me to be more diplomatic.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's ill. Yeah, that's really dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like that it makes me think of how some people operate when they are the leader, when they are the boss, the the entrepreneur, the actual entrepreneur, like with a staff, not just like self-employed. But the ability to lead from behind and the ability to lead with genuine compassion and interest in other people's interests. Like what makes them go, what makes them tick, what makes them perform or whatever, Like I'm always, I had been aware for a while. I remember this is like the last job I had. Was it? No, it wasn't the last job. It was just the job that I had spent the most time at. I used to work in advertising. And I realized at the time that I don't take to feeling underappreciated well. It was like that Michael Jordan, like, oh, that's all I needed. And then I'm gonna go dancing. I'm gonna tear this thing apart. I'm gonna show you what you're underestimating. You know what I mean? But the ability to see that in other people, I can imagine to be like such a powerful tool.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure, man. Definitely for sure.
Okay. So you grew up in Boston. Your entire childhood?
Yeah. So I grew up in Boston, and then
Boston area.
Boston area, and then I lived in Chicago.
Okay.
I did my undergrad at Chicago at Loyola. And then I moved back to Boston to work at Deloitte, the accounting firm, and then Ernst & Young. And then I moved to New York to work at a private equity firm in accounting, and then a medical device, and then I started Coombs CPA.
Okay.
I ended up in Newark by mistake.
Tell me about that.
I wasn't. The business was not supposed to be in Newark.
Really?
No, it was not supposed to be.
Where was it supposed to be?
It was supposed to be in Harlem.
Okay. So
what happened was when I started the business, when you start, you don't have that many clients. You really don't have the capital.
Yep.
I didn't buy a person's firm. I really built from 0 to close to 1,000 clients from scratch.
Yeah.
Like
right.
Straight guerrilla warfare. So what happened was I wanted to do it in Harlem, but the startup cost was too high. It's really kind of weird. I did this AICPA photo shoot that was like promoting accounting CPA stuff for children. And the guy that was doing the makeup was like, oh, you should look into Newark. I forgot this guy's name. I never saw him again. He's like, you should look into Newark. He said that, but I didn't think that's a Newark, because I always thought in my mind Newark was just like an airport, and then like a lot of car theft. So I'm like, Newark, why would he say that? Okay, fast forward a year later, I'm looking for things, and I'm like looking for properties, and Harlem was too expensive. Then I was going to do it in Jersey City. And I lost a bid on the property. Okay. Then I find something on Newark, and it's like a 4-unit commercial residential. It's like $255.
Yeah.
And my friends are like, no, don't do Newark, no. Don't. And I'm like, this is like 30 minutes from Manhattan. Right. I mean, Newark is really a hidden gem because you have access to North Jersey, New York. You're by the airport. I mean, this place has the infrastructure to explode. Yeah. Okay. And, so I found the property, and, I said, I'm going to stay here for, a couple years and then figure somewhere else. And so I got the property, and the residents of the building paid, and I actually lived in one of the units. The residents of the building, just 4 units, they paid the debt, so I didn't have to pay a mortgage. Right. And I stayed there, and then the business grew. Then I started to meet the people in the community. I started to go to church in the community. I started meeting a lot of people here. And I'm like, oh, these people are like really, like Newark got some great people, like really solid people. And then I said, you know what? As we grew out of that space, I found something down the street. It was an old suit shop on Bergen Street. And it was like 2 or 3 times the commercial size, and I bought that one. Okay. Then I bought a house in Newark. And now I just ended up just staying out there. But it wasn't by design.
Wow.
It really wasn't by design. It was, and so some people are like, "Oh, why did you come?" I'm like, "No, it really was a."
Right.
But I do think it might have been divine because
Yeah.
how it
Right.
how it happened.
Right. That's wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you almost didn't have Newark, and Newark almost didn't have Coombs CPA.
Yeah, it was really gonna probably be in Jersey City, but they didn't
Yeah.
have no inventory and it was too competitive.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that in terms of having my business, Newark is actually a better choice than Jersey City, because we're gonna do an office in New York and then we have Newark. Like Newark, you have the airport here. It's like it's on it. Like Jersey City's already there. Like Newark is on the swing and you're here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and Jersey and Newark has so much more capacity.
Yes.
To grow.
Yes.
Like there's so much more room.
Yes.
You know? Whereas like Jersey City got
you can't even park, man.
Yeah, you can't do much of anything.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And man, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you, why accounting?
That's a good question. There was a lady in my church growing up named Shirley Hunter. She's a PhD in accounting at Tufts. And she told me about accounting.
It's like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah. She a PhD from UPenn and then CPA and then that was one lady. There's another guy at my church named Brother James who had a reputable firm. And there was my dad's friend. His name is Daniel Dennis. He was a African American who had probably like 100-person firm in Back Bay, Boston. So I just kind of saw that. So when you think about accounting, a lot of people think it's counting pennies and quarters. No, you have audits. Every nonprofit over $500,000 has to get an audit from a CPA. So I saw, basically them thriving. Yeah. And then the professor told me about it. And, I saw the opportunity. Only 1% of Black accountants are CPAs. And there's not race aside, there's not even enough white CPAs. There's not even enough white accountants. There's not even in every race. Yeah. And there's a shortage because people kind of view the work as it's grunt work. People like it's not the cool thing. Right. So but to answer your question, I found out about it through the people that I was exposed to. Yeah.
That's dope though. I mean, it's like like you said, on one end of it is not the cool thing. It's not the thing that you get to show.
Right.
You don't get to show the work. You get to show the conclusion. Right. And even that you're only showing to the client. Like, you know what I mean? You don't get to just put this stuff out.
Right. Yeah.
So like it doesn't have that. But as far as for accountants or people who are interested in accounting, to me it sounds like science. Like certain things was like, no, if you love, if you can look at numbers and see pictures, lean in, because this is that. And some people have that capability. Like they can see it. They can see story, they can see pictures, they can see timeline. They can see all of that in these numbers. Whereas most of us, myself included, don't see all of that. Like it would take me a lot more than it would take you to see beyond the equations and the formulas. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like there's an attraction for people whose minds work that way to know that this type of work exists. Right. Because like you're taught, I remember in school, like accounting was introduced and taught as a thing that was just for people who excelled at arithmetic and mathematics and not about interests, but just excellence, academic excellence. And like there is a whole nother side to this thing that is actually the only people that should be doing this work are the people who like actually enjoy being in the work. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like this is not assembly line work. This is not, crossing guard. This is not this to crossing guards or assembly line workers. But like only people that should be doing this are people that could just be in the room alone with the numbers. Yeah. If you could build a firm around those folks, it's like a dream team. Yeah. I would tell you this, and most accountants
don't like accounting.
Yeah.
I'm just keeping it real.
Yeah.
I'm not passionate about accounting.
Right.
I'm just keeping
Yeah.
I'm keeping it real.
Yeah.
You know, because, and I know a lot of people might disagree with this. People say follow your passions. I'd say this, right? God gives each of us gifts. There's some things that I'm horrible at. There's some things that I'm good at. If you have a gift that aligns with a need that can provide for yourself, you could do your like my passion. I love playing basketball.
Right.
I'm not going to the NBA.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I love playing basketball. But I just say I enjoy it, and I don't enjoy it. I'm good at it. But what I enjoy than the work is providing jobs and opportunities to people who would not have opportunities otherwise. That's what I personally enjoy. Not the work is it's crazy. But being able to give back and provide opportunities to people. Like, you know, they call me all the time, you know, young men and women from Newark. They see me and they're in accounting majors and they come, they want to intern, and they really like, whoa, you know. So I like doing that, being able to help and give back to them.
Yeah. But that's the thing. It's like your work is not your industry. You as an entrepreneur have a work that is entrepreneurship.
Correct. Yes.
So like it's just in a field of accounting. The same thing don't apply to you.
Right.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, thinking about how like there are certain things that the aspect of it that would bore or frustrate the next person are what turn you on. So like for you, there are aspects of entrepreneur. There are many people who just are completely uninterested in providing opportunities for others.
Right.
They just want all the opportunities.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That doesn't turn them on at all.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like in that vein, it's like you're doing your work.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I talk about this often. I'm really fortunate that I do the work that I've chosen. It's a fortunate experience to be like, I want to do this, and that thing can be available to me for one, and two, I'm earnest in that when I do the thing, it can actually pay for my livelihood. Right. And I could make ends meet. I could be a truck driver.
Right.
You know what I mean? I could be a bookkeeper.
Right.
I know there are things I could do.
Sure, yeah.
You know, and I'm completely uninterested in those things. But okay, so I don't want to just talk about work the whole time. Man,
that's all good.
Entrepreneurs, we're gonna talk about work, man.
Yeah.
It's just different. But so basketball.
Yeah.
How did you fall in love with basketball?
My child sitter growing up used to watch Michael Jordan all the time.
Yeah.
And then she would take me outside to shoot hoops. You know, I played Division I basketball.
Oh, say word.
I did.
In Chicago?
In Chicago, Loyola. Do you remember they went to the Final Four about 2018?
Okay.
I played years ago.
Really?
I had a good high school career. I did not have a good college career.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I got into basketball because we called her our big sister, but she was our child sitter from Barbados.
Yeah, okay.
She used to watch NBA and love Jordan.
Right.
That's how I started liking basketball.
Yeah, Jordan is different in like, Jordan, it's like, you know, when people talk about the greatest, that conversation is just a conversation to have. I don't think there's really a conclusion that's going to be definitive. And hopefully not, because the sport is supposed to advance to the point where it's like, there's a reason why nobody's talking about Dr. J anymore at all.
Right.
The conversation.
Yeah.
Like just the sport evolved. But like what Michael Jordan did, in my view, is what put him in like the greatest conversation, aside from his output.
Yeah.
You know, because his output speaks for itself. Like he wasn't just athletic. You know what I mean? Like he actually put up the numbers on both sides of the court.
Oh yeah.
But it was we had never seen somebody be able to turn on their own switch that way. And in different scenarios, like I now know you can do it with food poisoning. You even if it's, you call it the flu, whatever. It's like somebody poisoned your pizza.
Yeah.
Your mind can outpace that, or you can go from being incredibly skilled and athletic and, scoring, doing well under this first system with the I forget the coach's name that the Bulls had earlier.
Phil before Phil.
Yeah.
Dang. I forgot his name.
Yeah. And like it's at the tip of my tongue. But anyway, it's like Michael Jordan became the man under that guy, under that coach.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But the Bulls didn't.
Right.
The Bulls became the Bulls under Phil Jackson. So it's like, I saw somebody submit to a different system to make the team champions as opposed to being a certified star. You know what I mean? Because there wasn't an answer for Michael Jordan in the league. There was just not enough on the team in terms of the system and the way that they played to answer for what the Pistons were going to do to them every year and what the Knicks were going to, just physically.
Yeah.
Like what they were going to do to them. You needed a system.
Yeah.
You can't just have skills and talent, right? And so what Michael Jordan showed was like this elevation of what it meant to be the athlete even. Because it's not just what you can do with the ball in your hand. It was like what you can do, what type of player you can let yourself become or stop being for the sake of the team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he did some like other stuff that like hasn't been done since. Like even
probably
like
never will.
LeBron hasn't done it because fortunately for him, he didn't have to.
Yeah.
And I think that was part of the complaint that people had with LeBron was like LeBron was too willing to lead from behind. He was too willing to pass. He was like, he didn't want to kill. He didn't have killer instinct. These are the things that people say about him. But even with Kobe, who had all that stuff, you got to do something other than what Michael Jordan did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He tried to clone Jordan.
Yeah.
Jordan, the stuff with Jordan, it wasn't that he was just talented. It was mental.
Yes.
And he was wicked, man. He was
right.
He was vindictive, calculating with his teammates. He was playing a lot of mind games.
Yeah. Like it wasn't just the opposing teams.
No, he was doing stuff with his teammates to win.
Yep. And it's like, man, that's crazy.
Yeah. Jordan was a very high IQ individual. Yeah. High IQ individual. Yeah. Very high IQ.
Yeah. And very, I forget who said it, but there's this description or definition of what discipline is that I like.
Yeah.
Discipline is the ability to give yourself a command and follow it.
Yes.
So like if you can be general and soldier, that's discipline.
Right.
Some people just don't have the capacity to tell themselves. Their voice doesn't have enough authority. Their internal voice doesn't have enough authority to them.
Right.
And then some people who their internal voice might have it, but they won't submit to the thing.
Yeah.
So he had that ability to do that. He, and like mind fuck himself in a way that like he can create a scenario that didn't happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like super wild. But like as kids growing up, there was something about trying to have the composure that you saw him have at the foul line and finish plays the way he finished. Like all these things where you like you said, you watch and you go out and shoot around. You want to do things other than jump shots.
Yeah.
And just layups. And like you want to spin in the air and you want to, you know what I mean, do all these things. It's like, what that did for kids' creativity was incredible.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's why so many people fell in love with Michael Jordan around that time.
We'll probably never see another one.
I can't imagine it. Not in this. It's not that I can't imagine it, but it would have to be so many other things would have to be at play. Like I saw this thing earlier. It was really interesting to me. It was bugged out. Cat Williams was talking about, somebody was interviewing him and they were like, you once said that you you're the one who told Steph Curry to shoot from like half court.
Mm-hmm.
And the crowd laughs and chuckles or whatnot. But then Cat Williams tells this story of like, no, that's exactly what happened. He's like, I knew Steph Curry before you knew Steph Curry. Like Steph Curry would come play in charity basketball games and celebrity games for me.
Really?
Yeah. Before he was in the NBA, he was.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's pretty ill.
He was like, Steph Curry came here when he was like, I pay him $5,000 to come play. He came and he's like, Steph Curry could cross half court and anything after that, he could shoot.
Really?
He could make the shots.
Wow.
And he's like, he told them, he's like, first year he came, did it, he scored like 40 points.
Wow.
Next year he came back, 50 points.
And
he's like, he told him like, you should take this into the league. He's like, they don't have nobody.
Williams?
Yeah.
He's so random.
So random.
Wow.
So random. But like what he said to him was like, there's no defensive strategy or there's no defensive setup for anything up until you get to the 3-point line. Everybody is practicing. You run down court, you get to the 3-point line, then you start playing.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
Nobody's thinking about defense at the half court line.
Right.
Or anywhere in that zone.
Yeah.
So like if you just start pulling up, they're either gonna have to change something in the sport or you'll be the greatest shooter of all time.
Wow. That's interesting.
Right? So it's like, I don't think there'll be another Michael Jordan, but in the same way, there'll never be another Steph Curry now.
No, yeah, you're right. Because Jordan 1 year, he won MVP, Finals MVP, Defensive Player of the Year. And then they went like 72 and 10. Scoring, like that's unheard of.
Yeah.
That's unheard of.
Yeah, I forget this. Somebody was talking about that stat. Like he's the only player. It's been done 4 times.
Yeah.
Where it was like all team defense, regular season MVP, Finals MVP, and scoring title. All 4 are Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And it's like, that guy he got it.
I don't see it, yeah.
Yeah, he has got it.
Yeah, I don't see anyone surpassing him.
Nah.
Yeah.
No. So, what are some of your takeaways from, or favorite things, I should say, about living and working in Newark?
I like the diversity in Newark. I think that's good.
And when you say diversity, like what type of diversity are you seeing?
All different cultures. You have Brazilian, you have black, white, Spanish. It's like it's really a melting pot. It's really a melting pot here. I like that. I enjoy that. I've lived in different cities. Like Newark really has a strong sense of community. Like one thing about Newark, like it gets like a bad rap on the news, but it's just not true.
Yeah.
Like Newark really is like, it really is like a hidden gem. So I like the sense of community here. What else do I like about Newark? Sense of community, the diversity, the food is good. I like the support. It goes in part with community, but the community really supported me when I started my business and I got, entrenched. Yeah. So Newark's amazing. Yeah, I've enjoyed it. So
yeah, there's something that I think about when it comes to Newark that I definitely think doesn't get enough consideration. Newark is a city of migrants and immigrants.
Yes.
Like historically. Yeah. Like ever since ever.
Yes. Right?
Yes. First people to establish Newark were immigrants and migrants.
Right.
And ever since, that's what those are the people that land here. And something about the cultures of the immigrants and migrants who land in Newark is hospitality. Like, it's the reason why there are such different expressions in music that are available, and there are such different expressions in food that are available.
Right.
Because the cultures that come here are cultures that come to share their culture.
Yes.
Share their music.
True.
Share their food. Share their stories. And, when you look at like Newark present day, it's like part of the frustration that some people feel about Newark is because
Mm-hmm.
there is room to grow, and because people are aware that, like, man,
Mm-hmm.
if we occupy more space, it'll just be more awesome.
Right.
Like if we just turn the volume up on this,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the hospitality thing is so ill because along with a couple other things, like Newark still is under the shadow of stigmas that are outdated.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Like you're saying, like stolen cars, like that thing is still exists. People still think that that's what's going
It's
on.
in other cities too.
Right. But like, it's not prevalent enough that it should be part of Newark's identity today.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
How do we change the stigma?
I think we just turn the volume up on what we are doing.
Yeah.
More and more. Like I think that and also, you know, kind of to like what we were talking about before, some things just gonna take some time for people catch up.
Right.
You know, like people are still telling their friends, don't go to Newark. People who don't come to Newark are telling their friends don't come to Newark because of X, Y, Z. That doesn't take place in Newark either. Right. You know what I mean? So there's a factor of time also that I think we just gotta, you know, let time pass. You know, if you ask the average person outside of the general region, you know, name a city that has an international airport, an arena, museum, a performing arts center, you know, 2 county parks, a rail station, like they'd be like, New York, and nothing else. You know what I mean? It's like, damn, that's a lot of wealth and resources that people aren't recognizing are right here.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And then if you ask them about, like, when we talk about the actual people here, it's like, man, you can, if you wanted to, you could take 2 years and learn 3 languages.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Learn 5 languages. Like you could really, you could go to a self conducted culinary school where like you just learn these cuisines. And learn the farming that comes, like that it all comes from. Like, you could really, really do that. There's just so much here that is just untapped. You know what I mean? So like that it just leaves room for those old stories to keep perpetuating. But it's like, yeah, if you on the street, it's like stolen car where?
Right.
You know, you know, crime where? Like, it's like, and not that there isn't any. But it's not nearly to the degree of the stigma. Yeah,
it's definitely exaggerated. Like I've lived in Chicago and areas, and you can feel it. This feels like a utopia.
Right.
Compared to some areas of Chicago.
Right.
You know.
Right. Yep. Let me ask you, what's your relationship with ambition?
That's a great question. Very strong.
Yeah.
You know, some people tell me I need to slow it down a little bit. Very strong. I work long hours because I'm ambitious of the goals that I want to set for myself and my business. It's probably not always the healthiest thing though. You know, I probably go a little bit overboard. So a very strong relationship.
Yeah. How do you recognize or celebrate your wins?
That's a great question. Celebrate my wins. You know, there's a saying, they say, don't let your highs get you too high, don't let your lows get you too low. So I don't go all out, even when I get good news, because I'm like, I don't know what the next, you know, I just try to stay even keel. But if I do want to celebrate, travel. I like to travel.
Yeah.
I'll play basketball.
Yeah.
I love playing basketball, man. This is a good time for me.
I dig it.
Yeah.
I think that, like, and this is not me like speaking from a different perspective. I agree. I hold the same perspective.
Yeah.
But I think that acknowledging and celebrating the wins, not necessarily in loud fashion, but as another discipline. If like if there's a win, we're not going to pretend it didn't exist,
right,
because your ambition is insatiable.
Right.
So you're never looking at what you did. You're always looking at what you want to do.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like there is still that, but there is this too.
Yes.
Like you did this thing.
Yeah.
You created these jobs. I mean, you know, whatever the things are.
Sure.
You know, and like I remember 50 Cent talked about, like he would do something like buy himself something. Like, you know, you strike a deal with this company or do this thing or whatever. He would just do a thing that was basically like a charm on a necklace type of thing.
Yeah, I like
himself. That. It was like, all right, this thing represents that win. So I can't say that win didn't happen because I have this.
I like that
car or whatever this thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I think that might be a good like measuring stick or like kind of governor, so to speak, to the ambition. Because man, ambition can be so. It's a vacuum. You know what I mean? If you let it be, it'll just suck up all of your perspective.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's just because there's so much opportunity, and people who are highly ambitious are also typically highly self-confident. Like you can't talk to me about me, man. I'm sorry. I just got far too much self-belief.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I know what I can do.
Right.
And I know that it's limitless.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm only limited by the finite space in the world. But I can just go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like the ambition part will just be like, oh, word.
Yeah.
We'll keep on going.
Yeah.
And you just not charting how far you've come. You know what I mean? And like what you've done along that way. So my follow-up to that is, what is your relationship with gratitude?
Oh man. You know, I'm very appreciative for the Creator to just, you know, the good Lord for just being able to be alive and to be able to exist.
Yeah.
You know, I went to public school my freshman year, and then I went to a boarding school my last 3 years. And there was 2 roommates to the left and right of me. They're both dead today.
Wow.
They died at different times. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, we were in boarding school. One lived to the left, one lived to the right of me. And they died in their 20s at different times.
Right.
And you look at it and you're like, you're still here. You have to show appreciation. You know, there's a lot of people here who are battling health and sickness and stuff like that.
Yep.
You know, for you to have your health in place, that's a blessing. You know, so I show a lot of gratitude because I'm very fortunate.
Yeah.
You know, I know that I am.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, existence is crazy.
Yeah, it really is.
Like just the thing that we can't really wrap our heads around. What is this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I wake up and I'm conscious and aware and I exist.
Yeah.
It's trippy, man.
Yeah.
And I love gratitude especially because gratitude, similar to ambition, is inexhaustible in that, like, if I really sit still and think about what am I grateful for right now in this moment, the list won't stop.
Yeah.
Like unless I just stop thinking about it, there will always be another thing that is genuine that I am truly grateful for. You know what I mean? And it's such it puts me in a much better place for how I take the next step.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I take it, like, you know, there's this thing I've been working on lately where it's funny because I feel like I know I have these conversations with like, you know, friends and comrades and whatnot. I lose track of if I've had this conversation on the podcast or whatever. But I realized that typically I make my choices by way of my desire for a good future. Right? So it's like I'm gonna do my daily reading because I want, what good comes from that.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna choose to eat this and not that.
Right.
I'm gonna choose to have 2 drinks and not 5.
Right.
I'm gonna whatever the things are, right? But it's for the sake of a good future.
Sure.
And I realized that I have this opportunity to create a new paradigm for myself where I make choices based on gratitude for a good past. Like I get to be here to make this choice now.
Yeah.
A lot of awesome things happened that culminated in me being able to make this choice. Whatever this choice is.
Right.
So like the gratitude will it's like NOS to an engine of like what goes into that choice.
Right.
I make it with so much more passion and so much more intent and commitment and dedication, and not just like fulfilling an obligation.
Right.
It's like this becomes like, it's almost like, gratitude for ancestors type things. Like I got lifetimes of gratitude that I can pour into this thing.
Oh yeah.
So creating a new way of thinking and a new mentality for myself where I'm pulling from gratitude a lot more, so that when things come up, like small things, yesterday I'm laying in bed. I don't have to get up.
Right.
Like I'm an early riser.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't ever wake up because I gotta be somewhere in a half an hour.
Right.
I wake up before the sun is up. Like that's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could stay in the bed. But the thought is like, well, I'm grateful to have a bed.
Yeah.
I know people who wake up on the sidewalk.
Yes.
So like I should get up because I'm grateful that I got a bed to get up out of.
Right. Facts.
You know what I mean?
Facts.
And like that's doing right by that gratitude.
Yes.
Like that's how you do right by it. Get up out of the bed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm really interested to see like how I can like build this thing out
for
myself, because I think it's incredibly powerful.
Yeah, I feel like the Creator rewards people who show gratitude. I really do.
Yeah. Because it's like, you can never really satisfy the amount of things that there are to be grateful for.
Sure.
But man, you can make it like a central pillar for yourself. And there are so many distractions.
Right.
And there are also many things to be heartbroken about.
And
frustrated about. And it's like, if you decide on gratitude, I agree with you. I think God rewards the grateful.
Yes, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and gratitude is rewarding in and of itself.
Oh yeah.
It's like it puts you in a better mood. The reward is immediate. It's like you smile about a thing that you weren't smiling about 5 seconds ago.
Yeah.
You're just thinking about, oh, I'm so grateful to have blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Man. So like, do you play ball? How often do you play ball?
Man. I played this morning.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play tomorrow morning.
That's so good, man. That's really good.
Play tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Oh man, I probably play 4 times a week. We have a group called MBA, Mature Basketball Association.
Okay.
There's 100 of us in a group chat. And we schedule our 5 a.m. runs. If you ever want to hoop with us, man,
all right,
we'll welcome you.
Yeah.
It's a nice community.
For sure. Yeah. I haven't. Yes, I would, and I will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great networking too. You know, they come to the kids stuff. You know, we were all friends.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
it's like the way people talk about golf.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Most definitely, man.
Yeah, I think about that often, like when it comes like the physical things. Like I'm grateful that I do still have like a physically active life. You know what I mean? Like I exercise, I work out, I do yoga, I do things. I dance, like I do things physically.
I saw you dancing on one video.
Yeah?
You was getting down, man.
Oh, thank you.
You were doing something. You did some little spin move, man.
Yeah, man. But like that's another thing. It's like I'm aware that I won't always be able to do this.
Sure, yeah.
I won't always be able to do this. Like there'll be a point where there's a study, my man Rashawn told me about this. He was like, you know, I forget what the figure is, maybe it's like 80%, 90%, whatever, of people after 30 years old never run at full speed again.
Yeah.
Right? And when I think about like those, you ever heard those things where it's like, you know, you never know when the last time you're gonna ride a roller coaster.
Yeah.
When the last time you're gonna, you know, whatever. It's like, I don't know that I've played my last basketball game. So I should play another basketball game.
You should.
You know what I mean? Because like I don't want to just drift into oblivion and then it's like, oh man, my last basketball game was just because I just stopped. Like I could have been playing, you know. I could have been working out. I could have been dancing. I could have been all the things.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And like, yeah, I think it's another opportunity or expression of gratitude that I can do this. I get to do this.
Right.
You know, and it's only frustrating when you don't do it, and then you go back and do it.
Yeah,
like your body mechanics aren't where they used to be. They aren't how you remember it. Your pace and breath and speed is not. Your vertical lift ain't. You know, but it's like, all right, but as long as you can
do it. Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's like
that's kind of sad when you think about it, because you're like, imagine like you're 70, you love playing basketball, but you can't play no more.
Right. Like at all.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I remember being a kid and my dad used to always have like a good jump shot.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But my dad wasn't an athlete in his leisure. Right. That just wasn't part of it.
Yeah.
Like that was a thing he could do because he did it when he was younger. But I remember one day though we went to the park and he played.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he had me and a couple other people on the team. And seeing my dad have an uncontestable jump shot.
Yeah.
Blew my mind.
Yeah.
It was like, that thing is money.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was just like, man, it just feels like, not to down it. Or whatever, you know what I mean? But like, I don't want to waste a gift like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want to waste a gift. I don't want to be somebody to be like, I just whip out my dance spin game. Right. Like, where'd that come from?
Yeah.
I was like,
I can't do that. I'm like, man, I saw you do that. I was like, whoa. I wish I could do that.
Thank you, man.
You had some event. I saw it on like IG. I'm like, man, that man is dancing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, man. I have such a love for music and dancing that I get from my parents too. Like my parents loved to dance and loved music, and they had their own individual loves of music.
Yeah.
They had like a love for music and dancing together. But yeah, I get that from my parents for sure. And I think it's one of those things that's like one of the places where you can find God is in music. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not talking about any particular genre or anything. I'm just talking about what music is.
Right.
Like, that's a divine thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna send you this link to this guy I saw. I forget his name. Man, I hate that. But he sings and he makes music and he does different things. But one thing that he does in like a concert, if he's like at an NJ Pack type place, he'll, like, I saw him, he was like performing, he had an orchestra.
Is it Toby?
No, it's a white guy.
I don't know.
Yeah, it'll come to me later. But like, he'll turn the audience into the choir.
Oh, wow.
Where like, he'll just be like, this section, you guys are you're gonna sing on this note. So I'll have them, sing at this, octave, and then the people in the middle singing at this one, and the people on the right side are singing at this one.
Yeah.
And then he just kind of like, establishes a note
Mm-hmm.
and then tells these people to just go up one step.
Mm-hmm.
And because they're singing in unison, they can, even if I can't
Right.
do it,
Yeah.
I can hear the next person do
Sure,
it so that I
sure.
can catch up.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So like they turn it into like keys on a piano essentially. Where like
Sure.
he's playing the audience.
Right, right.
And it was such a treat to the orchestra
Mm-hmm.
to like be turned into the audience.
Yes.
And the audience is turned into the orchestra, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, man, that's divine.
Yeah, that's dope.
Absolutely divine.
It's creative too.
Yeah, incredibly, right?
Yeah.
But like, man, it's like there's certain things like that. I just feel like are, because they are, in my belief, utterly divine.
Mm-hmm.
I submit to them. So to speak.
Right,
You know what I
right,
mean? Like
right.
I submit to music. I submit to dancing, things like that. It's like you can do that. You can dance prayerfully.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's a mind-blowingly dope concept
Oh,
to
yeah.
me in and
Oh,
of
yeah.
itself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Last thing I want to ask you about.
Sure.
What is your relationship with death?
Ooh. My relationship with it in terms of, I feel like everybody has a day,
Mm-hmm.
and you just have to accept that.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as you live a life where you're doing right by people,
Yeah.
I believe in God and the Creator, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, you have things right with Him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whatever happens, happens. You
Yeah.
can't. I mean, there's some things you can control, like your
Of course.
healthiness.
Yeah.
But some people are healthy and it happens
Mhm.
early, and some
Mhm.
people are unhealthy and they like chain cigarette smokers. They
Yeah.
might live to 100.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
weird
yeah.
stuff happens
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But we all have a day, and you just have to make sure you're living life to the fullest. You know,
Mhm.
I don't fear it. I try not to think about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You know, because
it's-
people who are obsessive over it,
Yeah.
like, you know, Pac.
Right.
Pac was like obsessive over it,
Yeah.
and it kind of like he spoke it into his life early.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
to answer your question, long story short, I try not to think about it, but I try to, while I'm here, live my life
Mhm.
doing right by people as best as possible.
Yeah. It's like the best way to show respect for the certainty of death is by how you live.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like Michael Jordan. I remember Shaq said this. Michael Jordan said to him one time, he's like, the best way to show your opponent respect is by showing them no respect. It's like, that's how much I respect you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because like,
I like that.
Otherwise I don't respect you enough to give you the complete player that I am.
Right.
I mean, I'm making room for you and accommodating you and all.
Yeah.
None of that.
Yeah.
Right? But like, there's this opportunity to live intentionally with the awareness that death is certain.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I remember I went to a funeral once,
Mm-hmm.
and it was the first time that I was at a funeral, and I've been to a lot of funerals in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But it was the first time that I was at a funeral where I was like, the funeral really checked me on how I live. Because it was the first time I was at, and this is like in the past few years.
Yeah.
It was the first time I was at a funeral where they had like video of the person. Like I've seen photos of the person,
Wow.
whatever, but like a selfie camera on the phone, video.
Oh, wow.
And like, dude was just an incredibly gracious dude and generous dude and full of love and love for life. And,
Yeah.
You know, and you know, they played some of those videos. It was like, nah, that's just who that guy was.
Oh, wow.
Like that's how he lived, camera or no camera.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? And it was like, it really got me to like consider like, man, am I living in my truest fullness? Like everybody wants to live, not everybody. People talk about living in your truth.
Yes.
But there's also living in the fullest truth.
Right.
Like in the truest fullness of you. So it's back to like, if music is on, I dance.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Right.
If there's a chance to play ball, you play ball.
Right.
You know what I mean? If there's an opportunity to provide an opportunity, you provide an opportunity.
Facts.
If I get to speak life into somebody, I speak life into like the people that know us individually, personally, know these things to be true.
Sure.
But there's certain things you shouldn't have to be in the close inner circle to know that to be true
Sure.
about Tehsuan, to know that to be true about Andrew.
Sure,
You know
sure.
what I mean? Or you don't have to be.
Right.
And it's like, so I want to be like, man, how do I live so that I respect the certain, like it's evident that I respect the gift of life and the certainty of death, right? And then when it comes to even like death of other people and grieving, like there is the acceptance of this was always certain,
right.
Like it doesn't do me or anybody else any good to be completely bent out of shape when a certainty happens. You know what I mean? And not to like dismiss the pain that comes with loss of life and relationship and all the, you know, that. But when it comes to the idea of death, mine and other people's, I think a lot about like, what am I doing now? And how am I engaging in this thing where I obviously and evidently know the truth?
Yes.
Because the truth is the truth.
Yes.
You know what I mean? The truth is life is a gift and death is certain. Right. So how do I love the people I love in real time so that part of my grieving isn't actually resentment that I didn't love them when they were alive.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I bet on another day that they didn't have.
Yes.
Right. But then for me, like, how do I show up so that people have the opportunity to actually have known me and loved who I actually am?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like there's an awful lot of opportunity there.
It's powerful.
Yeah, I think so.
Really?
You know what I mean? Cause like then it's back to like, what is all of this?
Right.
I don't like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like shit. Let me just do as right by this as I can do by this.
Right.
You know? Cause I don't know what this is.
Yeah.
But
facts.
this is amazing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? On a slow day, it's amazing.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's it, man.
All right, man. Thank you for inviting me, man. This is a great platform.
Thank you so much, man.
Keep up the great work, brother.
Thank you. Same to you, man. Word.
For sure, man.
Amen.
All right.